I'm going to say, well, what are we going to do about it? Right? Because ain't nobody dying. And that's what I would train my guys.
In the business world, I do a thing once a month where I do and you've seen my war room, but where I've got the whiteboards and everything. And once a month, I've got my team in there and we do vision casting. And I spend a lot of work preparing to how to create an open table for good constructive dialogue. They don't realize it. They think I'm just standing there asking open-ended questions, but I spent 20 hours figuring out what open-ended questions to ask that hour or whatever. But anyway, leaders do a lot more work than people know that we do. It's like ducks with their feet swimming under the water, but on top they look calm. Like that's leadership. But anyway, we do these vision casting sessions because, what makes you great is the diversity. I think the United States is great because we're a melting pot of diversity. I think Rome was great as a diversity, as they would bring in all these different cultures. And when they tried to assimilate everything into one, they fell. And I think that could be our weakness as a nation if we forget that diversity is part of what made us so strong and continues to be, I think, a strength as a nation. But at the same point, there's that time too, where I snap and it's like, no. This isn't Vision Casting Friday. This is client has an issue, needs to be dealt with right now. There's a deadline. They're not going to close on their house, whatever the situation may be. And that money needs to be wired within 20 minutes or else, or in that scenario. There is no, well, you think we should ACH it or wire it? Do you think that we should use an EDF? No. I said, get it there now. And so I think there's a time and a place for vision casting, for diversity, for listening to opinions, like you said. And then there's also a time, like you said, where no, there's a life on the line or a critical, initiative, and it needs to be dealt with ASAP. So I think that a good leader can do both. And if all you do is dictate, I think you're losing the strength of the team and the strength of diversity to bring it back to the point.
Hey, before I go to Enrique, the one thing that matters for both of those scenarios is there's got to be trust. Okay, the people have got to trust. I tell my sailors all the time, you got to trust that if I had the time to hear all your opinions, I would let that happen, but I don't. Go now. Yep. Trust me. And then when you come back, we'll debrief it, right? Hey, real quick, Mr. Whiteside said, we have to lead with love, truth, and accountability. We ask people to be willing to give their lives. And that's true, at least for the armed forces. He said his uncle served 22 and a half years in the Navy. He could only serve as a steward or a cook. That's a fact, right? That's a fact. It wasn't that Carl Brashear, look back, it wasn't that long ago that there was some serious problems in our Navy. But we also know, and I taught this a lot of times in the Navy, so I'm proud of this statement, they would throw at us some of the most challenging people problems first and let us be the test cases for result, which is why when the Vietnam vets came back, they were so confused with society because they had gone from being really good buddies, willing to die for each other, to all of a sudden, why are you hanging out with that guy, bro? Like, what are you doing? And that's just, but unfortunately, there was other narratives happening in the country, right? And we were out of that box.